Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. After much tinkering, I've finally gotten my fancy camera to work again, so slight bumps to the production quality of the videos here on the channel. Not that we ever had a huge high bar for production quality in the first place, but anyways, we are here to talk about the banned and limited and errated list for January 1st, 2023 for the Dragon Ball Super card game, and I'm annoyed this for many reasons, of which we'll talk about in the video, but one of the reasons I'm really annoyed is because I'm trying to take a vacation here, man, trying to get all my stuff organized, and they go ahead and post a ban list so close to Christmas. Actually, I guess I shouldn't complain because a couple years ago they posted one on Christmas, and that was pretty annoying. Had to do a video on Christmas, but yeah, trying to take a break here, but Bandai wanted to update this before Christmas for some reason, but we'll talk about this in the video. I don't love this ban list. I think the past couple I have generally liked more, but yeah, this one is pretty rough around the edges, but we'll just get right into it. I know I'm late, but again, like, you know, leading up to Christmas, I already had a video planned for the day, and I had to do some last minute Christmas stuff, so here we are on Christmas Eve talking about this. But anyways, let's get on into it. We will blow up what they have to say here. Alright, so January 1st, ban limited errata card update. Hello, Dragon Ball Super card game fans. From January 1st, 2023, 3 banned cards and 1 errated card will be added to the ban limited errata card list. Banned cards: God Sealing Technique Trunks. Reason: this card has continued an impressive gameplay pattern against high cost battle cards. Without deflect and its energy cost of 0 can easily stop major actions. In order to limit this card's effect on future card design, we decided to ban this card. Alright, right off the rip, I hate this decision for so many reasons. This card's been legal since set 10, right? It's been at 4 copies per deck since set 10. We are now in what, coming up on set 20. 10 sets later, they finally decided to ban Trunks, where most cards they printed in good decks have deflect, or they're low cost to where, like, God Sealing isn't a good trade into those cards, right? Like, typically you're not going to God Sealing a 1 energy play unless you really have no other options. Yeah, you're going to God Sealing a 4-drop without deflect, but those don't really exist. People don't really play 4-drops without deflect. The one main, or I guess couple main exceptions to that is 1, 6-drop Vegeta in all the ramping decks, SS4 Vegeta Rise of the Super Warrior. That's a high bomb without deflect that you're always going to play in those decks because you need to ramp that 4 energy. And plus, you know, you're going to try to do it smart, right? You're going to deal with your opponent's unison before you ever just blindly play it for 6 to get blown out. The other example are floodgates. You know, these control decks pay 4 energy for Ready to Rumble, 3 energy for Gohan Baby's Minion, 2 energy for Oceanus Negate, stuff like that. So ever since God Sealing come out and more deflect has been put on offensive cards, the only purpose God Sealing has really served is to, again, 1, deal with SS4 Vegeta Rise of the Super Warrior, and I guess if you play against Cell Reboot, it also deals with the 7-drop Cell Perfection something, coming down and taking your hand down to 3. And then on the offensive side, God Sealing's been good for dealing with floodgates. Again, negating the play of Ready to Rumble, negating the play of Oceanus, all that kind of stuff. Trunks hasn't really been oppressive in terms of offensive battle cards. Yes, like, it's true the card's existence has pushed out non-deflect boss monsters, but if you look at anything from the past, like, 7 sets, any good boss monster has deflect. That's just kind of a matter of the fact. But yes, this does open some things up to where non-deflect cards can be looked at again. Like, I think one cool example of this is the future Gohan deck. I'm pretty sure the 8-drop Trunks in that deck doesn't have deflect. I could be totally wrong though. But yeah, that, like, there are just some cool things you can look at now that God Sealing is banned. But I don't love this hit because it was Blue's only real answer to opposing floodgates. And I guess that's like a blue versus blue thing, so it doesn't really matter as far as the rest of the format's concerned. But they've already printed so many cards deflect just because of this card's existence, honestly, that I felt like this is kind of unnecessary. I don't know. The only thing this really opens up the door for is Gohan Beast SCR. So, like, honestly, with this, I think I might be inclined to say Gohan Beast is now the best SCR for Crimson. Before this, I would say it's kind of a playstyle dependent thing where, you know, if you wanted to play a more aggressive version of Crimson, Gohan Beast is a really good option. But if you wanted to play the more late game kind of mid-range control variant, I would go with Divinity, the Kaioken Goku SCR. But now with God Sealing gone, the mid-range version of Crimson can't even rely on God Sealing to stop Gohan Beast. So Gohan Beast might just be the best SCR for the deck after this. So it kind of feels like they only hit this card just to unlimit the power of Gohan Beast. But yeah, I don't know. I don't love this. God Sealing was actually a good check to a lot of degen stuff. Again, like SS4 Vegeta Rise of the Super Warrior and 7-drop Green Cell. And the fact that SS4 Vegeta is not on this list could mean a lot for slower game blue decks, that they could just, you know, kind of come back into the format and take things over. But there's more to talk about in relation to that. Let's keep going. All right, SS4 Goku digging deep. Reason: The strength and utility of this card has caused an overabundance of Goku and Vegeta, the SS4 Gogeta deck basically, in competitive play. In order to increase diversity in deck building, we have decided to ban this card. Again, like, this reasoning doesn't really make linear sense because this is not the problem card in that deck. And the thing with Dragon Ball Super is, like, typically there's never one problematic card in a really strong deck. It's usually an amalgamation of a lot of really strong cards in a broken deck. I don't know. My recommendation for hitting Gogeta was to errata the Preparing to Brawl duo, where they wouldn't draw cards on play, only when comboed. I think that you can give Gogeta all this kind of crazy stuff like the 8-drop and the Senzu Bean and all that other kind of stuff, and the crazy Z deck manipulation. I think you can give them all that if you really limit their draw power, but what they've done here is they decided to essentially ban the archetype's Senzu Bean, and that is a really big hit to Gogeta's defenses. I can't, deny that. This seems like an okay hit because I guess the philosophy is give the deck everything it wants offensively, and even with that being said, it's lost Resolve Renewed and it's lost Broly Crown being played for free. So leave the deck's offensive capabilities the way they are, and let's scale back the deck's ability to be defensive. I do think that's a good approach. I won't lie. I think that's a pretty decent approach. Just so that, if you are able to put some pressure back onto Gogeta the following turn, they are going to have to burn way more cards from hand, or possibly even Z-Awaken if you put them in that kind of predicament, right? So a decent hit, not the one that I would have went with, and I don't think this is going to really, remove Gogeta from, the one of the two best red decks in the format. I don't think this is going to really change that. But again, it does make the deck weaker, so I guess that's overall a good thing. Next ban card, we have Haze Shenron Gathering Evil. This is a really good hit. Reason, the strength and utility of this card has caused an overabundance. Okay, it's literally just the same thing as Gogeta. Okay, yeah, so same exact reasoning, but that doesn't really matter. This is a really good hit to Sin, in my opinion. Sin is still going to hit you hard and fast, and they're still going to go really tall. Don't get me wrong. They can still go for the Dread Destroyer onto the 8-drop Feelings Bequeath. No, that's not it. Unfeeling Retribution. Unfeeling Retribution. They can still go for that on turn 3. And, they're still going to hit you really hard. They can still go for a 45k triple strike for one card out of hand, with all that being said. But the fact that they can't crit all that life, I do think is a really good thing. This is going to be good. I think Sin will still be a really good aggro deck, but you're going to give your opponent a lot more cards in hand to actually kind of deal with what you're doing. So maybe with these hits, maybe Sin and Gogeta aren't going to be the gatekeepers they once were, because they were really the decks that were keeping out all the rogue stuff. When you look at Crimson, a lot of people are talking about how green has a pretty good shot of beating Crimson, but then you got to deal with the red matchup as the green deck, and that can be really, really difficult to do. So making these decks a bit weaker does seem like a good thing, but it's not like red Android 13 is going to bump up and, become better than either of these red decks, right? I still think these are the two best red decks in the game until, of course, we see whatever's coming out for set 20. That could, of course, shift the balance. But if they make red stuff stronger than these two decks in set 20, that's going to be pretty scary, because these things were really, really a big power creep to the game and the color red in general. So if anything, these decks might need more scaling back if they don't really, I guess, increase the power level of the game in set 20. But we'll see, I guess, with that being said. But those are the bans. Again, God Sealing, I don't really like it. I don't think it serves the purpose they want to serve. All it really does is make Gohan be stronger, and I guess also indirectly reboot Cell and ramping blue decks. I think that's all that this really does. And control decks that had that reliance on floodgates. Goku Digging Deep is all right. I would have went with a different hit probably. Haze, I do think is a really good hit though. This is a really nice hit to Sin. Yeah, let's go down to the errata cards. They've errata the Crimson Leader. Okay, so yeah, Bandai was, a lot of us honestly were not expecting the dominance this leader would come with all these new generic cards. So reason, this leader's Awakened condition has major advantages over other decks after obtaining powerful blue sand cards from BT19 and EX21. With powerful sand cards expected in upcoming sets, this card impedes future card design. That's true. Any blue sand you print in the future is going to automatically have synergy with this leader. Where was I? So in order to increase deck diversity and deck building and limit this card's effect on future card design, we have decided to issue an errata for this card as follows. Errata portion only. Pre-errata text. The way Crimson normally awakens: when your life's at 2 or less, or you place 5 sands under this card, untap 1 and draw 3. Now the errata will be: when your life's at 4 or less, and you place 5 sands under this card from your drop, draw 3, untap 1. So basically, there's no 2 different awakening conditions now. There is 1 awakening condition. You both have to be at 4 or less life and place 5 sands under your leader. Honestly, this is a very light slap on the wrist to Crimson. And from me playing this deck a lot, that's my opinion. I could be totally wrong. But getting to, I mean, yeah, like old Crimson, you could awaken at 8 life, theoretically. You never really wanted to do that because your super combos aren't live. That's so many cards from your life that you haven't added to your hand. You don't want to awaken at 8. A lot of times, like, you do awaken at 5, and then, you know, your Zenos are live. Maybe you're gonna sparking that last life to negate a key attack. So yeah, is this like a slight nerf? This is like the slightest of nerfs. This might be the most slight errata, like the most low-key nerf to a card I think we've ever seen in this game, which is kind of hilarious. But yeah, I think Crimson's still going to be a great leader. I don't think this accomplishes what they wanted to do. Honestly, if they're this afraid of Crimson, they probably should have banned it, because unless they make a better leader, I think Crimson's still going to probably be the best, like, mid-range blue leader. Control decks, like, obviously, yeah, there's a different role to be played there. I think there will be control blue decks that can give Crimson a run for its money. Aggro blue, I guess Crimson probably fills that role best as well, because Blue Gohan from set 19 didn't do all that well. But yeah, this is like such a minor slap on the wrist that doesn't really do anything. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the actual hits. Like, but I think this ban list misses way too much. Like, I talked about SS4 Vegeta Rise of the Super Warrior. I talked about 7-drop Cell, which that's like a preemptive thing, but you always have to consider, like, what are the things you're hitting going to unlock? Like, if we make this hit, does this other deck become like extremely broken because we hit the check to it? That's something you have to consider. Like, I don't think Reboot Cell is going to come out of the woodwork just being inherently broken. It is a minor concern that I have, because again, Godsling was a really good check to that card, and that card's now banned. But one thing I really wish they would have hit, and I've been saying this for a hot minute now, is Boo Unison, man. Even I know Andrew didn't play it in his first place list, but you know, the Tapion version of Crimson, you now have much less reason to play that because Godsling's banned, right? One of the main reasons to play Crimson is because in the mirror match, you have an early Unison that can't be Smoke Dragoned, as well as giving the ability to God Sealing for their Gohan Beast SCR. That strategy is now null and void because God Sealing's gone, right? Does that mean everyone goes to Boo Unison? Probably, because it's just the next broken Unison. Like, the problem with Boo Unison is that you're basically like skipping your opponent's entire turn, because they have to spend a whole turn killing it. If they don't, you just generate way too much advantage. You have way too much defense. That's a big problem. That's the other thing too, right? Is that all the good SCRs, except for Gohan Beast, had deflect. So I think my main point is, like, except for the Boo Unison I wish they had hit, I think you really have to consider, like, the things that Trunks God Sealing checked and how those might run rampant now. That's what I'm a little bit afraid of. But yeah, overall, I don't love the list. But of course, I want to know in the comments below what you guys think. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. And I'll see you guys in the next one.